with part 2 of Shimshon and his victories. Shimshon and his victories, part 2, and we'll try to finish it up today. Shoftim, Judges, chapter 15. I cannot repeat what we went through the other day. You will have to get the tape or wait for it to go up on the Ramic channel, but we can't rehash that today. We'll continue in part 2. Shimshon and his victories. Brother Chris, if you would please help me out here. Shimshon said to them, verse 7. Let's go to verse 7. Judges 15:7. Shimshon said to them, though you have done this, yet will I be avenged of you, and after that I will cease. And he smote them from the hip and the thigh with a great slaughter. He went down and dwelt in the cleft of the rock Etam. Basically, he had revenge upon the Philistines and the double agent that his wife turned out to be. He tied foxes' tails together and torched their fields, their grain fields, their corn fields, and he received vengeance upon the Philistines, and through this woman he received the victory. Verse 9. Then the Plishtim went up, the Philistines, and camped in Yehudah, and spread out in Lehi. Verse 10. And the men of Yehudah said, why have you come up against us? And they answered, the men of Yehudah answered and said, to bind Shimshon have we come up, to do to him as he has done to us. Then 3,000 men of Yehudah went up to the top of the rock Etam and said to Shimshon, you know that the Plishtim are rulers over us. What is this that you have done to us? And he said to them, as they did to me, so have I done to them. Basically, he gave them victory. Now they're blaming him for victory because he has what? Killed, caught, and destroyed the Plishtim, and yet the house of Judah, or the tribe of Judah, is still subject to the Plishtim. Can I get a witness? No. So they're like, well, wait a second. You're supposed to deliver us from the Plishtim, but we're still subject to the Plishtim. You really haven't delivered us, have you? So we're gonna turn you over. You're causing us more problems than you are solving problems. So they continue. He said, the Plishtim continue to rule over us. What is this then that you have done to us? He said, I've just led Israel, and I did to them what they did to me. Verse 12. I mean, I'm on your side. I'm not against you. Verse 12. And they said to him, we have come down to bind you so that we may deliver you into the hand of the Plishtim, because we don't want them continuing to make our lives miserable. And Shimshon said to them, swear to me that you will not fall upon me yourselves, that you won't betray me. And they spoke to him, saying, no, but we will bind you we will bind you hard and deliver you into their hands. But surely we will not kill you. And they bound him with 2 new cords and brought him upon the rock. Stop. What's going on here? We remember that Shimshon would marry women through shittah, not for the sex, rather to develop an espionage agency through which he could have the information that he needed to overcome the enemies of Israel, to make Israel the head and not the tail, and to give Israel dominion over their enemies. Can I get a witness?
Amen.
I said, can I get a witness?
Amen.
But his own people did not understand that he was there to deliver Israel for 20 years against the Plishtim. Because he enacted judgment on behalf of Yahuwah. Remember, he was a man of Yahuwah, led by the Ruach,
Amen.
Guided by the Ruach,
Yes.
told by the Ruach, favored by the Ruach. He was not a man of the flesh. He was not a man who was chasing bodily pleasures. He was a man who used these women through shittah to gain information over and about and concerning his enemies. Can I get a witness?
Amen.
And you'll see this pattern in his life. And you always have to ask yourself, why am I marrying? What is the purpose of my marriage? What is the purpose of my relationship? What is the purpose of my habitation and cohabitation with these women? Is it for my own flesh? Is it for my own gratitude? Or is it to deliver Israel? Why do I promote plural marriage and biblical families and living? Because I know this is how Israel could be delivered in the last days. It delivered us before, it can deliver us, and it will deliver us again. But you got to examine yourself. Is the Ruach calling you to shittach and cohabitate with the women in your life? And what is the reason that you're doing it? And only you can answer that. Every individual has to answer that for themselves. But don't let the world bind you up. Don't let the world kill you when you try to obey Yahuwah. You've got to be steadfast, unmovable, and unshakable.
Amen.
Are you with me?
Amen.
Am I preaching to the choir today? I hope not, because y'all don't look like a choir. Either that or you left your uniforms at home.
Yeah, that's it.
Shimshon was betrayed by his own family. This is a principle in the word of Yahuwah. Stop crying over spilled milk. If you're going to serve Yahuwah and you're going to put the kingdom of Yahuwah first, and you're going to be raised up to deliver Israel by bringing them to the truth and having them live in the truth, your family will be the leaders in bringing you down and rejecting you and putting obstacles in your path.
Amen.
Yeshua said in Matthew 10, a man's enemies will be those from his own home, from among his own kin.
Yeah.
And then we're still shocked when it happens. So he knew the hearts of his own people. Do you have enough Ruach HaKodesh in you to know that the enemy is going to use your parents and your brothers and your sisters, and even if necessary your wives, to stop you from doing the will of Yahuwah in your life? He will use anybody and anything to get you stopped and to stop the will and for obstacles to overtake you. Do you understand that? And we shouldn't be surprised that the main point of entry is from our own friends, from our own home, and from our own family and kin. Are you with me?
Amen.
Are you with me?
Amen.
And we shouldn't be surprised and shocked when that happens. Now, if you are a leader in Israel and a judge among Israel, as many of us are called to be, many of us are being raised up to be, here is what Shimshon learned. He was willing to be bound by them as long as they wouldn't kill him. Does that tell you something? Shimshon was a man of the Ruach. Shimshon was not a man of the flesh, was he?
No.
And he was willing to be bound by the people of Judah as long as they agreed not to kill him. Because he knew how wicked and how vengeful and how spiteful and how mean they could be, and how they could be used by the enemy to do his will.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's why the word says, trust in Yahuwah and lean not to your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. He will direct your path.
Amen.
Amen.
So if you're going to be a servant of Yahuwah and you're going to be faithful to the ministry that he's called you to do, I'm going to help you, like Shimshon. I'm going to give you a list of people you can trust. Ready? Can everyone see this far? I don't know if you have vision, good vision, bad vision. You use corrective lenses or contact lenses.
No, correct.
Can you see this piece of paper here? Benjamin? I know you're sometimes your sight challenged there.
It's blank.
Yes.
Can you see that piece of paper?
It's
Yes,
blank.
sir.
Do you see any names on here?
There are no names
No
on
names.
that paper.
That's how you are an effective leader in Israel. The word of Yahuwah says Yeshua HaMashiach himself did not trust any man. Turn to your neighbor and say any man.
Amen.
Because he knew what was in man.
Yeah.
And that includes yourself.
Yeah.
You have to be led by the Ruach. If you're not led by the Ruach HaKodesh, you should not even be trusting in yourself.
That's right.
That's right.
Rav Shaul said, we are those who put no confidence in the flesh. How much confidence do you have in your own strength, in your own flesh? And you're working your way out of things yourself. Yeshua said,